The cold steel clicked around his wrist, echoing louder than the judge's gavel. His name, Staff Sergeant Elijah Kane, whispered through the courtroom like smoke, but no one dared to say it aloud. He stood tall, though shackled, his spine straight, like the sniper he was trained to be. Behind him, 2 officers held firm, gripping his arms like he was dangerous dot in front of him. A courtroom watched in silence, not with curiosity, but with shameful disbelief. And then, the doors opened. A man in full dress blues, stars glittering across his shoulders, stepped into the silence. A 4-star general, and everything stopped. Elijah was forged from 2 battles won at war, and 1 at home. Born in Montgomery, Alabama, to a seamstress and a steel worker. He grew up knowing how to stand his ground, but also how to stay quiet when the world refused to see him. At 17, he enlisted. Not because he loved war, because he believed service could make him visible. In the Corps, Elijah became a ghost in the tall grass, a sniper whose kill count saved dozens of his brothers. But when the bullets stopped flying, the silence became deafening. PTSD wasn't the enemy he trained for. Neither was the loneliness of returning to a country that still crossed the street. When he walked by in uniform, he wore medals over scars no one could see. Yet one night, all it took was a broken tail light and a quick reach for his VA card before he was face down on concrete, a knee in his back, and an officer shouting, "Don't move!" The arrest made local news for all the wrong reasons. Armed black man resists police. They claimed. No one mentioned he was showing his veteran ID. No one cared that he had a Bronze Star for valor. In the courtroom, the judge glanced at the stack of documents, discharge papers, medical evaluations, character witnesses, but the system had already made up its mind. To them, Elijah was another black man with a weapon, not a war hero, not a man who once pulled. A bleeding corporal from under fire in Kandahar. In the gallery, his mother clutched his dress blues, folded neatly on her lap, her only proof of who her son really was. The prosecutor didn't blink as he called Elijah a threat to society. The arresting officers sat with crossed arms, confident that no one would question them. But the bailiff paused when the doors opened again, and this time, no one could ignore who stepped in. General Marcus Ellison was a man rarely seen outside of Arlington ceremonies and national broadcasts. But today, he walked into that courtroom not as a symbol, but as a witness. He removed his cap, his face etched with purpose, and strode forward with the weight of command in every step. "I'm here," he said, voice calm, "to testify on behalf of Staff Sergeant Elijah Kane." The room fell silent. The judge blinked. Even the prosecutor froze mid-sentence. Elijah turned, confusion in his eyes, as the general looked at him not with pity, but with reverence. And then he said the words no one expected from a man of his rank. "We failed him." General Ellison recounted every detail Elijah had never told the court. The missions he'd led, the lives he saved, the trauma he still carried from retrieving the bodies of his own teammates. He didn't sugarcoat the darkness. Elijah had endured. He made it visible. He made him visible. He turned to the officers who had handcuffed Elijah and said, "You arrested a man trained to protect your freedom because you couldn't see past your fear." And then he faced the judge. "Is not justice. This is neglect, dressed in uniform." The courtroom didn't breathe. Tears welled in Elijah's mother's eyes as the general stepped forward and removed his own medals. He placed them on the bench and said, "Until we honor men like Elijah, none of these mean anything." Judge dismissed the case. Charges dropped. Apology recorded. But more importantly, something shifted in that room. One officer lowered his gaze. Another left the courtroom in silence. Elijah stood unshackled, now but still not sure how to process the moment. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from recognition. As he stepped outside, the morning sun hit his skin like a second chance. He looked over at the general. No words were spoken, only a nod of silent salute between 2 soldiers who knew the weight of silence. Sometimes The battlefield isn't overseas. It's in a courtroom. It's in a traffic stop. It's in the places we least expect a war to be fought. Elijah Kane fought for this country. And for a moment, this country forgot who he was, but someone remembered. That memory became a stand. If this story moves something in you, don't just scroll past. Share it. Speak it. Remember it. Because somewhere, someone is still waiting to be seen. Subscribe if you believe the world needs more moments like this. And be the reason someone still believes in honor. Start today.